Before starting with the chapter, let us begin with the basic concepts. What is physiography? Physiography comes from two words, physio, which means related to physical features, and graphy means to study. Therefore, physiography is the study of physical features of natural landforms. Natural landforms are of several types. They can be broadly classified into 1. Mountains. They are the highest landforms in a region. 2. Plateaus. They are plain flat lands on a high altitude. 3. Plains. Plains are low-lying flat lands. 4. Coastal plains. These are lowlands along the ocean. 5. Islands. They are a piece of land that is surrounded by water bodies on all sides. 6. Peninsula. It is the land that is covered by water on all sides except one. 7. Rivers. They are the water bodies that flow over land. 8. Drainage. It describes the river systems in a country. Let's have a glance on Himalayas. The Himalayas is not a single mountain range. There are many parallel ranges in the system. The Himalayas is one of the young-fold mountains in the world. Why are the Himalayas called young mountain ranges? The mountains that formed less than 50 million years ago are considered as young mountains in the world. The oldest Himalayan range was formed 47 million years ago. And over years, the other ranges were formed as the tectonic plates of Asia and India moved towards each other, leading to formation of Himalayan fold mountains. It is a major mountain system of the Asian continent and it has many of the Earth's highest peaks, including the highest Mount Everest. Himalayas extend from Pamir Knot in Tajikistan, and in India it extends from Jammu and Kashmir to Arunachal Pradesh. Shivaliks, Lesser Himalayas, Greater Himalayas, Himadri, and Trans-Himalayan ranges are young to old ranges respectively from south to north. These mountain ranges are also divided into first Western Himalayas or Kashmir Himalayas, second Central Himalayas or Kumaon Himalayas, and the third Eastern Himalayas or Assam Himalayas. And elaborate the importance of the Himalayas. 1. Climatic barrier. Himalayas protect northern India from severe cold in winters. 2. Origination of rivers. The glaciers in the Himalayas give rise to perennial rivers such as Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra, Kosi, Gandak and Ghagra. 3. Physical barrier. Himalayas act as a barrier and make it difficult for the invaders to enter India from the north. 4. Tourism. Himalayas attract thousands of tourists from India and abroad. Tourists chasing adventures come to trek the Mount Everest. 5. Forests and biodiversity. Tropical and subtropical forests are found on the foothills of Himalayas. On the middle and upper reaches, the coniferous and deciduous woods are found. The Himalayas are home to a wide variety of animals like yaks, snow leopards, red pandas, elephants, etc. 6. Minerals. The Himalayas have rich reserves of important minerals like copper, lead, zinc, nickel, cobalt, etc. We will now look at the North Indian Plains and its characteristics. The North Indian plains lie between Himalayas in the north and the peninsula in the south. Let's go through the characteristics of the North Indian plains. 1. It extends from Rajasthan and Punjab in the west to Assam in the east. It is mostly a flat low-lying area. 2. The North Indian plains are divided into two parts, eastern part and the western part. 3. The eastern part lies to the east of the Aravallis, is the basin of the river Ganga and is therefore known as the Ganga Plains. It slopes eastward. 4. The western part of the North Indian plains is occupied by desert. It is also known as Thar Desert or Marusthali. Most of Rajasthan is occupied by this desert. 5. To the north of the desert lie the plains of Punjab. This region is spread to the west of Aravallis and Delhi ranges. 6. The North Indian plains are highly fertile and have deep alluvial soil. 7. Because of high fertility, this region is very important for an agrarian country like India. 8. The region is also characterized by good transportation and communication facilities. 9. Because of such characteristics, the density of population in this region is also very high. Now let's move to the Indian Peninsula. The Indian Peninsular Plateau lies to the south of North Indian plains and tapers towards the Indian Ocean. It consists of many plateaus and hill ranges. The Aravallis in the north are the oldest fold mountains. It includes a series of plateaus bordering the plains, Vindhyas and Satpura ranges in the central part and the hilly regions of western and eastern Ghats. Let's take a glance on the coastal plains. The coastal plains of India are blessed with a long coastline extending for approximately 7,500 kilometers. It lies to the western and eastern part of the peninsula. Its western and eastern coastline show remarkable dissimilarities, such as eastern coastal plain bordered by the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal, western coastal plain bordered by the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. Rivers originating from the Eastern Ghats flowing towards the eastern coast flow at lower velocities. Rivers originating from the Western Ghats flowing towards the western coast are short and swift. These rivers form delta along the coast. These rivers form estuaries and lagoons along the coast. It is a wide plain. It is a narrow strip. There are very few natural ports on the eastern coast. There are more natural ports on the western coast. We will now look at the island groups. India has many small and large islands along the coast of the mainland. India has two large groups of islands. One is the Arabian Sea called Lakshadweep Island and another is in Bay of Bengal called Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Most of the islands in Lakshadweep are atoll islands, also known as coral islands. They are small in extent and not very high. Islands in the Andaman group are mainly volcanic islands. They are large with hills in the interior parts of island. Barren Island is the only island with active volcano in India. Nicobar group are atoll island too. Brazil is occupied by highlands, plateaus and small mountains. They are not very high and long extending mountains in Brazil. Except for the northern Amazon basin and in southwest along the upper parts of Paraguay basin, there are no wide plains in the country. Even the coastal plains are restricted in their expanse. Brazil is divided into 5 major physiographic divisions. They are the highlands, the Great Escarpment, the coastal region, the plains, the island groups. Now let's move to the highlands. Highlands is an elevated region or plateau. The southern Brazil is occupied by an extensive plateau. It is differently described as Brazilian highlands or Brazilian shield or Brazilian plateau. Brazilian and Guiana highlands together form the core of South American continent. The highest peak of Brazil is Pico de Neblina, which has the height of 3014 meter, and it lies on the border between Brazil and Venezuela. The regions to the east and south of the Brazilian highlands have an altitude of more than 1000 meter, but in other parts the altitude is between 500 to 1000 meter. The highlands gradually slope towards north and slopes are not very steep. The tributaries of Amazon flowing through this region make rapids and waterfalls. Towards the north, the slopes are steep but not abrupt. A number of rivers take off from the terminal portion of the highlands and flow northwards to meet Atlantic Ocean. Some major rivers like Uruguay, Paraguay and Parana originate from the southern slopes of the highlands and enter Argentina. Its slope towards the east is steep and it appears in the form of an escarpment. Let's take a glance on the Great Escarpment. The Great Escarpment occupies a very small area in Brazil. The nature of its slope and the effect it has on the climate makes it a separate physiographic region. The eastern side of the highland is demarcated because of the escarpment. In this region, the altitude of the escarpment is 790 meter. The escarpment is very steep, particularly from Sao Paulo to Porto Alegre. The escarpment acts as a barrier to the southeast trade winds, giving rise to the rain shadow area in the northeastern part of the highlands. The region to the north of this area is called drought quadrilateral. We will now look at the coasts. 1. Brazil has a coastline of about 7,400 km. 2. The coastline can be divided into 2 parts, namely northern and eastern coast. 3. The North Atlantic coast extends from Amapá province in the north to Rio de Grande do Norte in the east, and from there the eastern coast extends towards the south. 4. The northern coast, a low-lying region, is characterized by mouths of many rivers, including the Amazon. 5. On this coast lie the Maranhão Island, Maranhão and São Marcos Bays. 6. The eastern coast receives large number of smaller rivers, and the islands near this coast are coral islands called atolls. 7. The Brazilian coast is characterized by a large number of beaches and sand dune complexes. 8. The Brazilian coast is protected in some areas by coral reefs and atoll islands. Now let's move to the plains. The plains in Brazil are confined to 2 areas, namely the Amazon basin in the north and Paraguay-Parana source region in the southwest. Amazon plains, lying between the 2 highlands, form the largest plain land of Brazil. Amazon plains lying in the northern parts of Brazil generally slope eastwards. The Amazon basin is quite wide in the west, about 1300 km, and it narrows eastward. As the Amazon River approaches the Atlantic Ocean, the width of the plains increases. These are mostly forested areas and largely inaccessible due to frequent flooding. Most of the American plains are covered by tropical rainforests. The other plains in Brazil are located to the southwestern part of the highlands. They form the source region of Paraguay and Parana rivers in the southwest. Pantanal is one of the largest wetlands in the world. It lies towards the southwest part of the highland areas. It is a region of swamps and marshes in northwestern Mato Grosso do Sul in Brazil, and it extends into Argentina too. Let's take a glance on islands. Brazilian islands can be classified into coastal islands and marine islands. Most of the coastal islands have formed due to depositional work of rivers. Marine islands were a part of the mainland. They are more than 300 kilometers away from the mainland in the Atlantic Ocean. These islands are mostly rocky, and they are the top of the submerged mountains. The islands near the coast of the South Atlantic Ocean are coral islands, and they are called atolls. Drainage of Brazil. The drainage in Brazil is concerned. There are 4 divisions. There are 3 major river basins and coastal rivers. The 4 divisions include 1. Amazon Basin, 2. Paraguay-Parana system, 3. São Francisco, 4. Coastal rivers. Amazon Basin. 1. The Amazon River is the largest river in the world by the amount of water it carries. 2. It flows through the tropical forests of South America, mainly in Brazil. 3. Its headwaters are in the Andes Mountains in Peru. 4. Amazon River receives huge discharge, that is about 2 lakh meter cube per second. As a result, sediments are not deposited even at the mouth. 5. Amazon basin is covered by the dense forests and is prone to frequent floods, making it inhabitable for human settlements. 6. At its mouth, the width of Amazon River is 150 km. 7. Most of the coast of Amazon River is suitable for navigation. Paraguay-Parana system. 1. These 2 rivers are located in the southwestern part of Brazil. 2. Both the rivers from the catchment of River Plata in Argentina. 3. These 2 rivers and River Uruguay collect their headwaters from the southern portion of the highlands. São Francisco. 1. It is the 3rd important river of Brazil. 2. The entire basin of this river is within Brazil. 3. It occupies the eastern portion of the highlands. 4. The river flows towards the north for a distance of about 1000 km over the plateau. 5. Then takes a sharp eastward turn to enter the coastal area along the Atlantic Ocean. 6. The river is navigable for a distance of about 250 km in its downstream reaches. Coastal rivers. 1. Brazil has a number of short coastal rivers. 2. The coastal area being densely populated, these rivers attain significance. 3. River Paraniba and River Itapecuru, flowing northwards, meet the North Atlantic Ocean. 4. The rivers that enter South Atlantic Ocean collect their headwaters along the escarpment. 5. River Puruguaco enters the Atlantic Ocean near Salvador town. Drainage of India. Drainage of India is classified into two divisions based on their source region. 1. Himalayan rivers. 2. Peninsular rivers. The Himalayan rivers are divided into two divisions based on their source region. 1. Sindhu river system. 2. Ganga river system. The peninsular rivers are divided into two divisions based on the directions they flow in. 1. West-flowing rivers or Arabian Sea branch. 2. East-flowing rivers or Bay of Bengal branch. Most of the major rivers in the Himalayas originate from various glaciers. In summers, when glaciers melt, the discharge of water increases in summer. A. Sindhu river system. Sindhu and its tributaries originate near Mansarovar and flow westward. Sindhu and its tributaries drain through the western parts of Himalayas and flow through the state of Jammu and Kashmir. A major tributary of the Sindhu river system, the Satluj, flows westwards towards Punjab. Sindhu flows through Pakistan and then meets the Arabian Sea. B. Ganga river system. The river system originates from the Gangotri glacier in the Himalayas and becomes an east-flowing river. One of the tributary of the river system, river Yamuna, originates at Yamunotri. Brahmaputra is also a part of this river system. The peninsular rivers are rain-fed and therefore they are seasonal in nature. The peninsular river system is divided into east-flowing rivers meeting the Bay of Bengal and west-flowing rivers meeting the Arabian Sea. A. The east-flowing rivers. The important river systems of this group are Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri originating from the western Ghats. River Krishna and its tributaries Bhima and Tungabhadra are part of the east-flowing river system. River Kaveri flows through the states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, also forms a major part of the east-flowing river system of the Peninsular River. B. The west-flowing rivers. The river system occupies the areas between the Western Ghats and the Arabian coastline, covering the states of Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra and southern Gujarat. In the north of the west-flowing river systems are the river Tapi, Narmada, Mahi and Sabarmati. River Luni, originating from the western slopes of Aravalli range, flows into the Gulf of Kutch.